You can't talk about Chicago drill music without mentioning the name of Chief Keef. Chief Keef is one of the pioneers of Chicago drill music and one of those responsible for taking it to the heights it has attained today. He's also responsible for inspiring a lot of Chicago drill rappers, but with a long list of controversies and run-ins with law enforcement officers, the Chicago rapper has developed somewhat of a reputation as the boogeyman of the Chicago drill scene. Today on Rap Central, we'll be revealing to you how rappers are scared of Chief Keef. Early life. Chief Keef was born and raised in the popular Parkway Gardens low-income complex, which is now known as O Block. His real name is Keith Pharrell Kozar. Keef's mother was just 15 years old and unmarried when she gave birth to him, and nothing else is known about his dad since then. Chief Keef was named after his deceased uncle, whose name is Keith Carter. His legal guardian was his grandmother, and he grew up in her home. Keef is one of those unique talents who started making music at a very young age. He started making music at the age of 5 by using his mother's karaoke machine and tapes to record his music. He attended Duels Elementary, and he also attended the therapeutic day school called Banner School. While he was in school, Keef was a smart student and never had issues with his grades, but he dropped out of Dialed High School at the age of 15 to pursue music. After dropping out of school, it didn't take long for Chief Keef to gather a following for his music. Career. Chief Keef's unusual path to fame continued after he dropped out of high school. He started to release mixtapes, and he became quite popular in Chicago, most especially with the high school students, and specifically in the south side of Chicago. His first two mixtapes were The Glory Road and Bang. Glory Road was released in July 2011, and the mixtape had 11 songs and featured artists such as Lil Reese, Fredo Santana, Gil Marley, etc. The second mixtape, Bang, was released in October 2011. Bang was a 16-track mixtape, and these two mixtapes are part of the albums that laid the foundation for the Chicago drill music we know today. However, Keef was also a very aggressive teenager and always got into trouble with the law. In December 2011, Keef was arrested for firing a gun from his car in Chicago's Washington Park neighborhood. He was placed under house arrest at his grandmother's place for 30 days, after which he committed another crime, and he was placed under house arrest for another 30 days. But these house arrests were perhaps what Keef needed. Being under house arrest took him off the streets and allowed him solely on his music. He posted several videos on his YouTube account, and these videos started to make drill music popular. But it was in March 2012 that Keef released his first major hit titled I Don't Like. The song, which was produced by Young Chop, put Keef and drill music on the map, and the video for the song was shot in his grandmother's house. The song was one of the lead singles of his 2012 mixtape, Back from the Dead. I Don't Like caught the attention of the entire rap industry, and the song was quite successful on the charts. It peaked at number 73 on the Billboard Hot 100, 20 on the R&B hip-hop chart, and number 15 on the rap song chart. The song became even bigger when Kanye West made a remix of it with Pusha T, Jadakiss, and Big Sean. With the remix from Kanye, Chief Keef shot from being a local rap star to one that was the subject of a bidding war between Young Jeezy CTE World and Interscope Records. He eventually signed with Interscope label, only for him to be offered a separate deal in which he was promised his own label imprint, Glory Boys Entertainment. The deal was reportedly worth $6 million over a 3-album layout. He signed the deal and released his debut album, Finally Rich, in December 2012. The 12-track album featured guest artists such as Lil Reese, Rick Ross, 50 Cent, Wiz Khalifa, French Montana, and Young Jeezy, while most of the songs were produced by Young Chop. In 2013, Keef was featured on Kanye West's Hold My Liquor. On his 18th birthday, Chief Keef released the mixtape Bang Part 2. However, the mixtape wasn't as successful as his album, as it was met with mixed to negative critical albums. Still in 2013, he released another mixtape called Almighty Sosa, but the 15-track mixtape was also met with mixed reviews. Keef later stated that he was disappointed in both projects and blamed his lean addiction and bad mixing as factors for the quality of the music. During this period, Keef announced various projects such as Bang 3, Mansion Music, and Thought Breakers, but none of these mixtapes were released because of various run-ins with the law. He was eventually dropped by Interscope Records in October 2014. However, in October 2014, he released a collaborative mixtape with Gucci Mane titled Big Gucci Sosa. The 12-track mixtape was successful, and he released Back from the Dead 2 in November 2014. Keef produced 16 of the 20 songs on the mixtape himself, and the mixtape was just as successful as Big Gucci Sosa. Since then, Keef had released other albums and mixtapes such as Sorry for the Wait, Nobody, 2017, and Glowtoven. However, Chief Keef has not reached the heights that his talent is capable of, and this is because of his gang affiliations and frequent run-ins with the law, and this is why most rappers are scared of Chief Keef. However, before we delve into that, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this one. Gang affiliation. Chief Keef grew up on O Block, which is perhaps the most dangerous block in all of Chicago. The block, which was originally named Parkway Gardens, was renamed after the death of O.D. Perry in August 2011. 20-year-old Perry was a member of the Black Disciples, who are the dominant gang of O Block. Chief Keef is another member of the Black Disciples. The gang, which was founded over 50 years ago, is known for criminal activities such as arms trafficking, theft, illegal gambling, kidnapping, extortion, racketeering, burglary, money laundering, murder, drug trafficking, etc. What makes Chief Keef stand out, and one of the major reasons that rappers are scared of him, is because of the violent things that Keef raps about in his songs actually happened, and some of them are even things that he allegedly did. Chief Keef caught his first offense when he was 15 years old, at the same time when his music career started. He was accused of trying to deliver heroin near a school, park, or public housing. However, since he was only a minor at the time, he was not found guilty of the charges. Rather, he was found delinquent of the charges and sentenced to a home arrest, which he served in his grandmother's home. And as we mentioned earlier, it was also at this time that Keef had time to work on his music. Chief Keef was again arrested on the 2nd of December 2011 for a situation that many fans believe is the reason why rappers are scared of Chief Keef. On this day, Chief Keef allegedly and almost single-handedly took on the police. After police got a call about shots being fired on the 6100 block of Indiana Avenue, officers arrived and saw Chief Keef working out of his grandma's apartment. He was seen holding a coat over his hand that was in front of his waistband. When the police approached and tried to question Keef, he didn't cooperate. Instead, he flashed a handgun and took to his heels. The officers chased after Keef, after which he then stopped and pointed the gun at the police officers. Although he didn't shoot, pointing the gun at the police officer suggests and shows just how dangerous Chief Keef is. This incident made the policemen draw out their guns and shoot at him, but they missed, after which Keef started running again. He was eventually caught, and according to the policeman, Keef had dropped his gun. When the gun was recovered, it was found loaded. He was held at the Cook County Juvenile Detention Center for a while before he was eventually sentenced to another house arrest. Keef was again arrested a few months later. This time, he was arrested for violating his probation, which he got for unlawful possession of a firearm. He violated his probation by visiting a gun range for a music video, and as a result, Keef was sentenced to 60 days in juvenile detention. 3 months later after his arrest, Chief Keef was arrested again, this time in Atlanta. He was arrested for disorderly conduct after a security guard in Le Meridien Atlanta Premier Hotel called the police and reported that Keef was smoking weed. Chief Keef has also been arrested in Chicago on various occasions for possession of drugs and also for driving under the influence. After he was arrested again in March 2014, he was charged with DUI, driving with a suspended license, and also for having no proof of insurance. He was released after posting his $300 bail. However, rather than return to court for his case, Chief Keef fled Chicago and moved to LA for good. It's been stated that the moment he returns to Chicago, he'll be arrested for his case and also because he's been banned from the city by its mayor. Another major reason why rappers are scared of Chief Keef is because of the death of Lil Jojo. Lil Jojo was involved in a feud with Chief Keef, his fellow rapper Lil Reese, and other members of his Glow gang. Lil Jojo had driven through their neighborhood and taunted Keef and his other rappers. Jojo had also aimed a couple of Twitter messages at Chief Keef and Lil Reese. Lil Reese then released a video of his own in which he threatened to kill Jojo. A few days later, the 18-year-old Lil Jojo was killed while riding a bike. Fans are speculating that Lil Jojo was killed by Chief Keef. Fans believe that the death of Lil Jojo is the major reason why rappers are scared of Chief Keef, as this incident shows that Chief Keef is allegedly capable of killing rival rappers. Now, after leaving Chicago, Chief Keef stayed out of trouble for almost 3 years until he was arrested in Miami Beach, Florida, when cops picked him up for DUI charges. The cops also revealed that over 6 drugs were also found in his system. Drugs such as morphine, promethazine, hydromorphone, norcodeine, codeine, hydrocodone, etc. were found in his system. He was sentenced to probation and 5 hours of community service. He was arrested again on January 26, 2017, when his home was raided by the police for his alleged connection in the violent home invasion of his former producer, Ramsey the Great. The producer was reportedly robbed at his Devonshire home. The producer accused Chief Keef and his friends of breaking into his home and holding him hostage with an AK-47. However, the case was thrown out after the producer himself was sentenced to 10 years in prison for charges of human trafficking, pimping, and weapon possession. What made this incident more interesting is the fact that a witness who had agreed to testify against Chief Keef went missing before the trial, and with witnesses going missing, no rapper wants to mess with that. That brings us to the end of today's video. If you liked the video, please leave a like and a comment below. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to be notified when we upload new content.